Hello, welcome. If you're here for the recycling and landfill equipment presentation, in the right spot. If you're not, you can leave now. No, please, it'll be riveting. My name's David Cox. I have the joy of being the chair of today's session. Before we start, I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of Coffs Harbour and surrounds, the Gombang people. We acknowledge and respect their continuing culture and contribution they make to the life of this city and this region. So we've got 6 people coming up to talk today, and I'll offer a brief introduction to our first speaker. Our first speaker is David Caleo. Don't you love it when your phone refreshes just as you start reading out someone's bio? That's absolutely terrible. Now I've got to work out where I am again. And then I've got to go into session information. Oh, look, I'm the chairperson. Fantastic. All righty, enough about me. David is Director and Chartered Mechanical Engineer with over 30 years' experience in the building industry, with extensive experience derived from working in worldwide environments. His knowledge and expertise have achieved delivering a range of projects throughout Europe, Australia and Asia. He has represented companies as a contractor consultant at client levels, delivering technical expertise across numerous industrial sectors. David has been working in the vacuum waste collection industry for the past 6 years, working with owners, developers and institutions to develop bespoke, sustainable solutions. More recently, he has been working with Randwick City Council to develop guidelines for the implementation of localised automatic waste collection systems. Would you please join me and welcome David to the lectern.
Wow, that bio sounded pretty good. I almost believed it myself, but so thank you. Welcome to Aerbin and Aerbin Australia. We deliver a greener, cleaner vacuum waste solution. So Aerbin Australia is a collaboration between Aerbin Denmark and Climatech. Climatech is a leading mechanical services contractor in Australia. So I'm very lucky to have here today the 2 directors of Aerbin Denmark, Frank Fredriksson and Frank Rammersen. Thank you for joining. And if I get anything wrong today, they'll pull me up. So the Aerbin has one primary objective, and that's to deliver waste solutions to the European market and now in Australia, and to be a market leader while taking into account the environment, applicable regulations, and legislation. Aerbin Denmark has been established for almost 20 years and completing numerous projects such as the Odense Municipality, Aarhus Municipality and Copenhagen Municipality. And Aerbin will continue to produce and promote the future system of sorting, automatic collecting waste from homes, urban developments, healthcare, using automatic vacuum waste collection systems. Sorry, I've got to keep it going. The purpose of Aerbin Australia is to be a leading Australia in the efficient collection of waste and offering councils and property owners an automatic waste solution that can integrate and cut costs in their developments while securing a healthy, sustainable and clean environment for apartment buildings or equivalent and hospitals and commercial buildings and precincts. So what is automatic waste collection? Well, it's an ideal solution for waste handling within an urban area and high-density housing. The system could serve housing located 7 kilometres away, or it could be centralised within the building itself or the precinct itself. Why you can transport waste to a specific desired location, if it wants to be close to a resource centre, there are many operational benefits and savings. Facts about the system. No more manual handling of waste, it's all automatically done. It's a closed system, so it's not possible for mice, rats, vermin, they often see around waste bins to get into the system. Whereas traditional type of waste bins are unhygienic, requires a lot of space around the surroundings, and they always overfill. And you always see an overfilled waste collection bin. Facilities surrounding an automatic waste collection can be easily cleaned, since no overfilled waste containers. It's always space for future waste. There's fewer inspections. The control system linking the system can be monitored. We monitor all the waste collection systems. the reduction in noise pollution, the reduction in the number of vehicles that have to come and collect the waste as well. So in short, it's a more environmentally greener solution. How it works? I'm glad you asked that question. Well, waste is discarded in what we call a load point. Now, a load point can be a bin in the street. You're familiar with different recyclable bins, your recyclables, your general waste bins. Sometimes you might even have more different types of waste streams. Or it could be a load point when it could be a garbage chute within a building itself. So the waste is loaded off into a garbage chute, travels via gravity down to a point near the discharge valve. Discharge valve fills up with a certain point in terms of waste collection. When it gets to a certain weight, the discharge valve will open after being sent a signal from the vacuum waste central handling facility to suck the waste via vacuum through tubes and to the central waste vacuum facility. There it is separated into different waste streams and contained within different waste streams. So you have what's the difference between your business as usual and your automatic waste collection system. And you would see there, you'd be very familiar with the bins on the street. I know I am, see them all the time. Often the bins aren't as clean as this. Often the bins are sometimes overflowing and waste goes on the street. There's also a collection period where the waste vehicle comes and collects the waste. Sometimes the bins aren't nice and perfectly arrayed and they have to be moved around. Also, there might be car park in front of the bins as well. So it takes considerable time to actually load each of those bins into the waste truck to empty. The alternative to that is we have some inlet connection points, which is in different waste streams, where the waste can be loaded directly into your recyclables, your general waste. It might be other type of glass, not so much glass as such, but plastics, and it can be taken away as soon as the bin is full. So it's very, very quick. No need for a waste vehicle to come and pick it up. It sucks it away by a vacuum to a central waste collection area and then separated into the main waste streams. So Aerbin has been very busy in Denmark and has developed a central waste management facility for the precinct, comprising of waste collection points, load points, all connected by a common pipe, then going to a central waste vacuum collection system and then separated into different containers for the different types of waste streams. These are just some of the pictures of the components of it, of the central plant. To the left here, you see the large vacuum fans. To the bottom left there, you see the resource center. We have the roller doors, which can open up, and they'll have containers behind them to be taken away. To the right, we have the loading points for the connection to the bins, or they can be connected straight to the garbage chutes. And down below in the right bottom corner, we have the central waste containers there, which collect the waste and then be taken away to be emptied. So odents, you see odents now, if you look at it from a street point of view, you see all these empty bins, the overflowing bins. Looks very clean, very clinical. It's a very clean city, and it makes waste collection very, very easy. So no need for trucks to come in the middle of the street to go and empty those bins and take the waste away. It's all done automatically and all done by vacuum. In terms of the environmental impact, it's great in terms of there's a reduction in traffic on the roads, so less garbage trucks on the road, less greenhouse gases because there's less garbage trucks emitting greenhouse gases, huge reduction in labour, 80% reduction in labour and operating costs, and generally a 50% reduction in spatial requirements that are required in building cells for waste collection systems. So the applications, precincts, so it's been already used in Australia. Vacuum waste is not a new concept to Australia. So you have a Maroochydore Town Centre, which is a district vacuum waste system throughout, and that's been installed at the moment and been connected. Hospitals have been looking at vacuum waste. So hospitals are using for clinical waste collection, normal waste collection. If you're in the health market, you know that for hospitals, they use AGVs, automated guided vehicles, to have bins on them and collect waste. So this is a much more safer and cleaner, environmentally friendly system to collect the waste from hospitals. Hospitalities, again, in hotels, using garbage chutes, residential with garbage chutes, commercial, we're seeing the introduction of maybe garbage chutes in commercial office buildings now in terms of waste collection to reduce operational costs in collecting the waste from each of the office floors. Sporting facilities. So if you go to your stadiums, you'll obviously see the bins overflowing, and because a general waste bin is overflowing, people might put their waste in a recycle bin. So it's in these applications here, the bins are always empty, and therefore the cycling of the waste can happen more accurately. Unfortunately, though, it's very hard to integrate a central vacuum waste system within an existing city, like say, for example, the City of Sydney, where the roads and the footpaths are heavily congested with existing services. Or for one of another example, Randwick City Council, where again, Randwick is quite an old council, and there's a lot of historic services already in the roads and the footpaths, so it's very hard to run a new pipe in those centralised areas. So what is the alternative? The alternative is a localised vacuum waste collection system, where the vacuum and the waste collection and storage is all contained within a mobile vehicle. So it can be installed where it's not suitable, centralized system not suitable. So it's very difficult to install a centralized plant in a nice location. This allows you to enjoy the benefits of a vacuum waste system by having a local system installed in each building without the vacuum plant itself. So the systems that are installed in each building are quite passive systems. So if we look over here, we just looked at a general multi-story building, multi-story residential building. You have your garbage chutes. Normally in a residential building, you might have two garbage chutes, the main garbage chutes being your general waste and your recycled waste. And you also might have what's been introduced now is food waste or organic waste collection, which is becoming very much important of council's remit to do better waste collection. So the chutes will collect down to waste storage bins within the building itself. So there'll be a waste storage tank for each of the different waste streams. So here, the red one here is the general waste, the yellow one there is recycled waste, and the green one there is food waste. They all connect to a common pipe, and which will then go to an outlet point or a docking station, where a vacuum truck will then come up and connect to that docking station to suck the waste away. Now, each one of those tanks and connections to the chute have valves in them, which can open and close, and allows the tanks to be separately emptied. So that allows us to use the same pipe for different types of waste streams. So we don't need 3 pipes, for example, for each of the different waste streams. So it makes the collection and the installation quite simple. So the pipe itself is only can be 350 or 300 diameter, depending on the installation. It's not a very large pipe. The tanks will take up less space than your bins in the basement. There's no need to get all the bins and have a caretaker there, and when the garbage truck comes down the loading dock, to then load all the bins into the garbage truck itself. This is done all automatically, very clean. Again, because the tanks are all sealed, there's no chance of vermin, there's no chance of rats and mice, odors are contained. It becomes, if you've been in a garbage room, if you go to a garbage room that's been there a while, it's probably one of the most disgusting places you ever want to go. And the odor can be incredible. This is totally different here with this type of system. Again, in terms of the inlet point can be on the street, can be in a precinct 2 minutes ago, there we go, and connected to a tank. You have a picture of the tank in the right-hand corner there. The tank has a screw drive in it to push the waste down further into the tank itself. And there's some components of it. So you see the connection from the chute going to the outlet from the tank and the pipe work within the building itself. So the pipe work It's acoustically wrapped for any noise and also wrapped for fire rating as well. And just some more pictures of the tank connection, the collection vehicle, the point of connection to the outlet point, where the outlet point can be in the street, it can be in part of the building, it can be below ground with a pop-up. Very, very versatile. Just some more pictures showing some collection vehicles. Just a very quick case study. Case study 1 is what we normally see in an all building with the 1,100 litre bins. And this is a general layout there. And then if we were to install a vacuum waste system, here we've got the 3 tanks doing the 3 different waste streams of organic, recycles, and general waste. And we see the space saving using a localized automatic waste collection system. Okay, and case study 2, same again, because we don't need a linear track to bring the waste bins out, 1,100 litre waste bins. We don't need a carrel system as well. We save a lot of space. And you see the space saving here with an automatic waste collection system. So finally, we said the main advantage is space. It's cleaner, more automated waste collection systems, easy to install, and it provides advantages of collecting the waste itself. So Aerbin supports municipality. We've seen in councils that we described before. There's a couple of precincts in Queensland. Queen's Wharf has a centralised vacuum waste management facility. The old Jupiter's on the Gold Coast, the Star City Casino has a vacuum waste facility. And finally, Randwick City Council has decided to implement localised vacuum waste as part of their Kingsford to Kensington precinct. Thank you very much.
Now, I promise it's not rigged. You look at my socks. You'll notice it's a complete and utter coincidence that I happen to be wearing STG socks. Oh, absolute complete and utter coincidence. So our next speaker is from STG, Mohammed Alam. Mohammed spearheads waste truck innovation as Head of Engineering and General Manager with STG. With a background in aircraft engineering, his commitment to excellence shines through in every aspect of STG's waste truck sector. So would you please welcome me to bring Mohammed to lectern.
Thanks, David. Thanks for the introduction. All right. Good. So my name is Mohammed Alam, and I'm here representing STG Global with my team in the Waste 2024 conference. Most of you would know STG Global. I can see some of our already customers, and STG Global started back in 1990s, had a humble beginning in Mansfield, and now we've become a multinational global company. Leaders in the vacuum trucks and water trucks, and now we are here trying to penetrate the waste market. Currently, as we speak, we are doing a global expansion. When we started in 1990, STG Global, it was just in the name, it's in the DNA. We have to go global. And recently we have expanded into Philippines. Now we've got customers in Middle East, New Zealand, Canada, and USA. The topic for my presentation today is innovation on wheels. Now we can't expand globally or even domestically if there's no innovation on wheels. And our innovation on wheels that I'm discussing today is how our smart waste trucks are addressing certain challenges in the industry. Now, when I say smart and technology, people tend to think smartphones, smart homes, smart cars. Anything smart related with technology makes our life easy, gets more stuff done for us, makes us organized. But also at times, smart with technology also means they're complex, hard to operate, hard to learn, hard to maintain. This is probably one of the reasons smart cars are not that famous. If there's a small accident or a small repair that needs to be done, they're really hard to maintain. Same with trucks. When we say smart trucks, a lot of you might think, more sensors to brake, more interlocks to work with, more computers to plug in to fix the truck. But when me and STG started, when I started with STG about 6 years ago, we went with this approach, the KISS method. I know it sounds funny, but from engineering perspective, it's a very important method. Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple and straightforward. It was actually introduced by Kelly Johnson back in 1960s. If someone over here is interested in aircraft, he was a designer for U-2 and S-71 aircraft, really complex, but still operated, easy to maintain. So we have a very simple philosophy at STG in developing our waste trucks. If your average mechanic cannot fix it, or if your average operator cannot operate it, it's not good enough. So we have to keep it simple. We have to keep it simple and straightforward. And we are not here to reinvent the wheels. We are just here to continue the story that has been laid down with previous manufacturers. All STG is doing with their waste trucks and also with the other trucks is just addressing the challenges in the industry and addressing them from a smart perspective. When we were doing a case study back in 2018 and 2019 on what the industry needs, we figured out there are four main challenges in the waste sector. Challenge number one, supply and demand. Right now, a lead time to purchase a side loader or front loader is about 10 to 12 months. Council needs it yesterday. And the owner operator who truck broke down, he needs a replacement truck right now. He can't wait 10 to 12 months to get a truck. To address that, we came with modular designs. We made our designs in such a way that can be assembled anywhere in the world. We've got about 7 assembly sites as well as 6 manufacturing sites in Australia. That way we can manufacture them in bulk. You know, you can manufacture your tailgate, you can manufacture your bodies, packers, and arms, and then have them assembled. Really cut down the lead times. Right now we are leading the industry with the lead times. It's about 6 to 8 weeks. So if you place a confirmed order, that's how it's going to take. And it's not because you just got a lot of stock to sell. It's because the manufacturing is very lean. And that's what we wanted to address in a smart fashion. On-call support. Me and my team have been out with the operators in different trucks for a long, long time. I've been sitting on those passenger seats and working with the mechanics on the floor just to understand what on-call support means. Right now, if there's an issue with the truck, the operator normally has to take the truck back to the depot. One of their mechanics have to look at it. Or at times, if it's too complex, they have to ring the manufacturer and do a remote dial, have to send out a technician to fix it up, or even probably plug a computer to do a remote dial-in. That's a big challenge that we wanted to address. Staffing and employment. Like we all know, it's very hard to get staff, especially post-COVID. Operators don't want to operate a truck. Mechanics don't want to fix a truck because they tend to believe no one's listening to us. I've been with the operators on the passenger seat, for days in and days out, just to listen to their feedback, just to see what they like, what they don't like. And one of the main complaints that they had, no one listens to us. We've been speaking to the people out in the industry. We want this fixed, we want this change. 5 years already, no one's listening. You know what? I'm out. I've had enough. Same with the mechanic. He's fixing the same thing again and again. He has had enough. He needs some solutions. Innovation. Sitting in the cabin, we realized the cabin is just too cluttered, man. You got like 5 screens to look at. And then you've got a big front loader arms going up and down. You've got a side lift arm coming out. You're watching with pedestrians and cyclists all across. 4 screens to look at, too many buttons to press, just makes it very hard, distressing. To be honest, it just becomes hard. Like picking up waste, it's already hard. It's already, tough. It's a smelly job. I can smell it already because I sit in the passenger seat and smell it day and night. So we had to innovate something. We wanted to develop a screen or something along those lines in which we can capture everything into one. Let's have the focus more out on the road instead of focusing what's inside the cab and just getting the truck operational. So to these 4 challenges, we came up with couple of smart solutions. One of them, which I discussed a bit earlier, was a modular design. Our front lift is assembled together. They've got probably 6 or 8 main assemblies. They're all hot swapped. If an arm breaks or you want to build your top plates at a certain spot, we can do that. And then we can assemble that anywhere in Australia as well as anywhere in the world. That gives us industry-leading lead time. Solution to the remote dial-in. We've put in like a computer into the trucks. What that does is, if the operator is out on the road and if something's not working, or if they need support, or if it's like a brand new operator just learning the product, they can give us a call. And once they call us, we can literally just dial into a system. They operate the truck and we see what they operate. This is something which has been really beneficial with owner-operators. With our remote customers who do not have mechanics on site, all they do is just give us a call and we remote dial in. We pinpoint the issue if there is. They can get a Sparky out who will probably spend 2 hours instead of spending a whole day. That just slashes cost. Also with councils have been loving this feature because this way they can also do a remote dial-in. We are able to train the council's person to remote dial-in instead of sending their mechanics out, lacking pass and being on the site and realizing, oh shit, we needed this proximity sensor and we got that one. They can do a remote dial-in from their site. Or even actually, we can also bypass some settings, just to rescue the truck. Imagine your front loader arms for some reason stuck up in the air. A couple of our customers are very remote. If you are 60, 70 k's away from the depot and your arms are stuck up in the air, then you have to send a mechanic out to fix it. Instead, we can dial in, we can bypass some settings, so he can at least rescue the truck back, saves time, slashes cost. Customer-centric approach. This has been really, really instrumental in getting the products where they are right now. When we launched this product in 2020, and with the trucks that you're seeing right now, I can confidently say the trucks in 2020 were a total piece of garbage. Sorry to say that, but they were. But what we have standing out right now is a piece of art. It's a Rolls-Royce of garbage trucks, and I can say it very confidently. And this has only been achieved with the customer-centric approach. We listen to the operators, we listen to the mechanics, we have listened to the people sitting in the office. There has been a very big frustrations that we have found is, people in the office don't speak with the people in the workshop, and people in the workshop doesn't speak with the people in the office. We were like, all right, we want to get a product right, so let's make a product in which people in the office will love, as well as people in the workshop and on the road will love. So when you get a chance, obviously come to our booths. The booths are 13, 14, and 25. I might be saying the names wrong. They're probably on the next slide. But do come, we will show you our trucks. We will show you the features. We will show you what competitive advantage we have and how we have developed this truck so quick based on the feedback that we have got. Also the last one, single screen interface. Instead of having now 5 screens in the truck, we've got this. Everyone in this marquee would know what is this. What is this, guys? Yeah, correct. An Apple iPad, off-the-shelf item. Anyone can purchase it, which means if there's any issue with the screen or anything, any customer can go to JB Hi-Fi, purchase it, and we can port our application on it. This is how the application looks. Everything in one screen. Live infographics, cameras, touchscreen interface, built-in diagnostic features, everything in one screen. Imagine the stress that we have reduced with the operator now. Instead of going, where the sensor is going and what button to press, all he has to do is go to one screen. This has really reduced the clutter and made the operations very simple. So yeah, we are at 13, 14, and 25 booth number. Here you go, on top right. So you're pioneers in specialized trucking industry. So like I said, so we started in 1990. We started with vacuum trucks and water trucks. They're actually our bread earners right now, the main product. And now we launched in 2020 our waste trucks. So we are out there competing with obviously other manufacturers and getting our products out there. We've got extensive range. We've got hook lifts, rear loader, prototype is just finishing. Its prototyping phase is going to get out to the customer for testing. We've got, super trucks, tilt trays, service modules. And all of this is combined with your groundbreaking technologies as well as superior waste collections. Any questions so far? Actually, that's the end of the presentation, but any questions have you got? Any questions? No? All right, guys, so when you get a chance, please come to our booth. I've got a whole team here who are very passionate and very dedicated, and they really want to show you what we have been working hard day and night. So we are at booth number 13, 40, and 25. We will see you out there. Thank you.
I just realised I've been messing with the program. Seamless work over there by the audiovisual department to keep up with me. Okay, we'll go to who was supposed to be number 2 on the list. Apologies for that, Brad. So next we have Brad from Finlay Waste and Recycling. Brad has worked in various equipment for the past 17 years, has specialised in capital equipment for the last 12 years, and has an intimate knowledge and material processing equipment used in various waste industries, including the waste and recycling sector. Would you please join me in welcoming Brad?
Hello everyone, I'm Brad Scott from Finlay. We have 2 divisions in Finlay. Let's get this stuff out of the way so I don't bore you with it during the presentation. We have a crushing and screening division and a waste and recycling side of the business. So what I'm here to talk to you today about is buying capital equipment and why it's so important to get your choices right at the start. And I'll be talking about doing your homework a lot too, because if you don't do your homework, you could be in for a world of pain for the next 5 to 10 years, however you've purchased your equipment. So initial thoughts when you're buying a piece of equipment, whether it be a shredder, a screen, or even a crusher, or a garbage compactor, whatever it may be. It's a large capital outlay. If you're looking for a screen, you could be looking for somewhere for 500,000 upwards. Shredders, 8 to all the way up to sort of $1.3 million, depending on what you want to buy. So it's important to do your homework there. Essentially, what people normally talk about when they're looking to purchase this is extra running costs, which is true. There's always upkeep and maintenance to go with these purchases. Site restrictions is always a big one. We'd like to process some material to get a bit of recovery, divert some material from landfill, but it's not going to fit. There's also experienced personnel. But one thing have noticed in the industry is that you've spent $1 million on a machine and you're paying an operator, I don't know what it may be, $35 to $40 an hour. But what I have found over my period in the industry is if you pay a bit extra, you're going to get a good operator. So my theory is if you spend $1 million on a machine, what does it hurt to pay someone an extra $10 an hour who actually knows what he's doing and can look after your investment for you? Because ultimately he's going to save you money in the long run. That's the short of it. You get a good operator, he's going to save you money. And if you go through the process, you've looked at different machines and you know what you're going to buy. Like if it's a shredder, what's it going to give you? It's going to give you increased production, less material handling. So basically with material handling, the less you touch the material, the more you save. The more you touch it, the more it's going to cost you. So that's always a big one. Site reclamation. So basically, if you go into a site that's like a skip bin company, for instance, they bring all their material in, generally send it to landfill. But there's some people that do screen it, pull the bottom end out. The fines can be used for for day cover in a landfill, or can be blended with other soils and mulches. Your mid fractions. The idea of it all is to get that smaller bottom end out so you can actually get to the bigger stuff, and it's easier to recover that way as well. So, and then in the day, it gives you increased profit. The less material in terms of weight you're sending to landfill, the more you save. So common types of mobile equipment. I'm going to shamelessly possibly plug our machinery, but shredders, screens, eddy currents, and density separators. So some common observation I've seen from buyers when you've won a contract, or you've decided you want to do something, you need something now. That for me is a rush decision. If you're going through the process, you know that you're going to get a contract, you should probably know that you're going to need equipment to go with it and what sort of equipment you're going to need. You see it all the time. You rush into a decision, then your customer's standing there with a machine and it's not doing what the rep said it would do. And the machine's not as efficient as it once was when it first went in. Well, that's a basic maintenance. You need to spend the money on these machines, because if you don't spend the money, you're wasting that initial outlay, basically, and it's going to cost you more in the long run. And you can't get parts or service. That's a big one. So again, that comes down to homework and knowing who you're buying your machines from. Because at the end of the day, if you've bought a machine that's a little bit cheaper, but there's nothing there behind it, that's always a big pitfall that I see people fall into. Some common decision considerations. Machine application, that's a big one. So you need to buy the right machine for the right application, not a machine that can do the job okay, and it might do an okay job in that, but end of the day, you need to focus on what your core business is and what the best machine's going to supply for you. So that comes back to the correct type of machine. A big one too is when you're buying the machine is looking at the capabilities that your supplier is giving you, is able to give you, because it's okay to buy a machine, but then you need service, something goes wrong. Some of these things are pretty complicated. There's a lot of stuff in the back end, computer-wise, or especially in the hydraulic operated machines. There's a lot of consideration there to be given. Ease of operation's a big one. You want something that you can walk in, start the day, press a button, and off you go. And obviously price is a big consideration when you are looking at these bits of kit. So shredders, let's talk quickly about these. There's different types. You have slow speed shredders, different sizes. Within the slow speeds, you have twin shafts or single shafts. You have medium speed shredders for certain applications, and also high speeds, which are big and impressive bits of kit when the material starts flying out of those things. Reasons to shred: volume reduction. That's the idea. Is two things: helps with transport to get the weights in the trucks, and also when it gets to its destination, if it's going to landfill, it also helps you hit your compaction rates, which is very important, especially these days with the cost of sending stuff to landfill and filling up. Recovery. So most shredders will give you a magnet on there, so you're recovering the steel out of that. Instead of sending it straight into landfill, you're at least pulling something back out. And that steel's, you're not paying for it to go into landfill, and you're getting paid for it to go out. So that's a good thing. And making a product. When you're shredding and you want to make a product, you need to look at what you want to shred, and that'll decide on what product you want to make, because that'll decide what machine you ultimately need. You're not going to buy a slow speed shredder to make a garden mulch, but you can buy a slow speed shredder to do your green waste. It doesn't make sense, but that's how it works. And also to value add to your business. There's lots of reasons to shred, for mattresses. Funny enough, there's still places in Australia where these things go into landfill. You wouldn't believe it, some of the things I see, but it's high tensile steel. It's worth a bit of money. If you can get good recovery, shred them down. You're not sending them to landfill space, and you can pay some good money on the back end of it. Some examples, sort of touched on a bit of that. So screens, there's different applications for C&D, compost, soils, mulches, sands and gravels. So when you're looking at screening, you need to know what you want to screen and what your end product wants to be. Otherwise, you're just going to end up with two or three different piles of rubbish instead of having an actual product which you can sell. So types of screens, you've got your trommels or drum screens, inclines. Inclines are probably more for sands and your aggregates out of a crushing fleet. Star screens, which are high capacity, but also high in maintenance. A reclaimer scalper, more of a quarry machine, but you see a lot of people using them in waste. And a recycling screen. So, as an example for screen selection, I need a machine to screen everything. Yeah. And when I screen, I have multiple piles of what? So you need to work out what it is you want to screen and what you want to actually have at the end of the day. Because screens aren't screens. One type of material will block up in the screen, whereas another machine will handle it, but it won't handle what the other machine was doing. So there's different applications. As an example, like a scalper reclaimer against a recycling screen. Now, they look the same when you look at them, but on the surface. But when you get into a little bit further, a Spallic is a recycling screen. They use this particular screen box in fixed plant around the world. Great for C&D, different sort of applications. Great in green waste, sticky, soily, sticky material like clay types soils. Does a great job. So you need to look into, really do your homework on what you're looking to buy. And I'm not Larry Emder, but the price is not always right. So when you are going to make a purchase, price is a consideration. But if, in the day, if you're spending $1 million on a shredder and someone down the road selling it for $920, is that, on the surface they may look the same, but there's more to it. So that machine, when you buy, it's going to be the heartbeat of your operation. So how much is something like after sales service worth to you? Product support, you can pick up the phone and call supplier and say, hey, I've got a problem. We can dial into that machine from remote locations and see what sort of fault codes have come up. We can have the solutions ready, the parts ready to send out if we have to. And that product support, that knowledge behind the machines and what goes on is vitally important, as well as the service capabilities of your supplier. When you're buying a machine, you're in the position to sort of sort that out at the start. Things like travel, you can barter on that. You can say, hey, if it's, because travel's about $130 an hour, then you're paying for kilometres as well. That's the time to lock that in, and talk to your suppliers about that. Ask them how many service guys they've got on the road. Not are they subcontractors, because subcontractors, they've got their own business to worry about. Whereas you're talking to a company that has their own fitters, they'll send their fitters out. That's pretty important. It's overlooked a lot. People not asking those questions. And also parts knowledge and availability. It's a big thing. You've got a machine that's down. You can't wait. You can't wait for 3-4 weeks for it to come from overseas or whatever it may be. You need it here. You need it now. So you really need to do your homework there and ask the suppliers how much they carry in inventory, dollar-wise. Because you'll be able to work out pretty quick what's behind that offering that they're giving you. So, but I'll leave it there. We've got a stand here if you just want to call in. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the rest of your show.
I think I'm almost back onto the program now. Almost there. Thanks very much for that. Where have you gone, Jason? Jason. Yes. Jason Lacey from Contained Waste Solutions, the next speaker. Jason's an industrial engineer. With his team of designers, has been applying his expertise in developing simple and cost-effective design solutions to problems. With 25 years of solving design problems in the mining, oil and gas, and 10 years in the waste industry, the team continues to develop products to improve safety and productivity. Would you please join me in welcoming Jason? Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you for coming all this way to Coffs Harbour for this presentation. I really appreciate that. I'll try and make this punchy and pretty clear. I like the analogy before about KISS, and I think you'll see that this is classic KISS. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about is intercepting asbestos and other problem waste streams at public waste transfers. So in the context of problem waste, we've all seen so much of it in the media. The issues in New South Wales, the asbestos in public schools and playgrounds, and then it was found in Melbourne, and then it was Brisbane, and it's ACT. It's not a new problem. It's been out there for years. There are facilities and stories going back of trying to reclaim mulch from various sites. But it's not just asbestos that's the problem. We have a raft of hazardous and problem waste items, from batteries, tyres, chemical e-waste and biological waste, which the industry is struggling to manage, struggling to do anything with. And there's some fundamental reasons behind that. At a public waste transfer context, our traditional public waste transfer technologies have typically featured direct to stockpile or at landfill or direct to floor. Push pits, classic investment, significant capital investment in creating push pits. And probably the most common, the direct to bin or sawtooth waste transfer stations. This is traditionally what we have in this market here in Australia. And these technologies were developed many, many decades ago, focused on purely the efficiency of deposition and transport. They were never designed for intercepting problem or hazardous waste items. They were never designed for the interception of reuse or recyclable items. And in current day safety standards, they don't at all meet the bar. In our industry now, the EPAs have become more prevalent. They have more funding, thanks to all of the guys contributing to their coffers. And there's a clear focus in your licensing about what you can take into a waste transfer facility or a landfill. There are clear limitations about what you can receive and how you get to manage that waste. And the processes of managing that with a covered load which comes in is always very challenging. It's managed typically at the gate, the entry point, at the gatehouse, with some very talented people with some extraordinary skills to be able to interrogate the contents of those loads. It's a 100% inspection. You comfortably say to the EPA, we've inspected 100% of the loads that have come into our site because we have these talented people in our organisation. But of course, they're helped by the people that we work with in our environment. The honesty system is fantastic. Everybody that comes in is clear as a bell that what they have in their loads is perfectly kosher. There's no asbestos on the bottom of this green waste delivery. There's no tyres underneath this material that you want to charge me for. We're all good, love, just let me in. When we look at the technologies we have out there today, the old school push pits that we have, again, their whole purpose there was transporting material, getting compaction, pushing it all into a bin at the end. From a safety point of view, if we look at the ones that we have here on the screen, horrendous. The fall from height opportunities, the close proximity of machines in operation, of material being thrown up into the public, horrendous. Now, you can argue that you're going to do resource recovery and a push pit. Have a look at old mate down in the pit here in the image on the right-hand side. He's running the gauntlet of the public throwing stuff at him. He's got his shopping trolley there. He's going to intercept all the problem issues that he needs. And look, he's a man on his feet in a machine area. In any other industry, you wouldn't have a bar of it. Imagine in that picture on the left, the customer comes in and delivers, because they've been completely honest at the gate, throw some asbestos into that pit. The operator's reaction to asbestos going in that pit operationally is going to be very simple. I see nothing. Because the impact of recognising that is significant. You should be closing down that facility. You should be telling those 100 people that want to come into your landfill or into your waste transfer station, go away, come back in a week after we've treated all this contaminated material. That doesn't happen. We ignore the problem because the infrastructure we have doesn't allow us to do anything meaningful with it. Once it's over the edge, it is in your landfill. You really cannot recover. And the most important thing to understand is the user is deciding what is going into your landfill, what is going into your waste transfer station. The members of the public that get past that X-ray vision gatekeeper, they're making the decision about what goes into that pit. If we look at the old school direct to bin, same stories. Apart from the people that go into the bins and the fatalities we've had in those facilities, it's the same story. The public is choosing what goes into that bin, not the operator. Asbestos into that whole bin should be treated as contaminated waste. Those bays should be shut down. Take out a third of your typical waste transfer station by not operating into that bin anymore. And again, the user is deciding what goes into that bin. Right? They've got through the gatekeeper, they're making the decision. If we look at green waste, green waste is one of those wonderful areas that we're able to take volume out of landfill. But to do that, we've gone old school. Most sites now have a green waste pile out the back, mostly unmanned. You got green waste? Mate, go down there, help yourself, put all your green waste in, and you'll be right. You won't put any asbestos in, you won't put any plastics, you won't throw any nasty materials in there. And it's just not the reality. If we want to intercept those problem waste items that are going into green waste, that are going into mulch, which are going into our schools, we need to take an active approach of inspecting and managing what goes into those green waste piles. And again, who's deciding what's going into your landfill? The reality is the user is deciding, not the operator. So the days of unsupervised green waste piles will soon diminish on the back of all of the investment that the EPA are making at policing the management and the control of what goes into these infrastructures. So what to do about it? It's time to meet your EPA, legislative and OH&S obligations. Put in an Aerbin system. The Aerbin system allows you, as the operators, to decide what you accept. You get that opportunity at the point of deposition. And you also have that opportunity to stop killing and hurting people at your waste transfer stations. You can take away your tyre stops. You eliminate your falls from heights. You start to meet your OH&S obligations. The Aerbin system is quite simple. For those who haven't seen it, we have an Aerbin set up at the entry for the facility here. Very simple. The public back up to it. They empty their material onto a large floor, the Aerbin, and it gives the operator the opportunity to inspect, identify those problem waste items, to thoroughly inspect the content of every load as you're obligated to do in terms of your site licensing requirements. You're able to raise charges based on what's delivered. Joe Bloggs comes in, he hasn't told the person at the gate that he's got 6 tyres. 6 tyres is another $60 that you should be charging. He delivers green waste, and there's contaminants in the green waste. No longer is it $80 for that load of green waste, it's $500 for delivering contaminated waste. It gives you the opportunity to legitimately control the content of what's delivered, but also what you charge for what's delivered. You're no longer dependent on that honesty system. So if we have a look at how the traditional waste transfer system process works, Generally, and on any given weekend, you'll have a long queue of the public waiting to go through the X-ray scanning machine at that front gate. After that, they direct them into various stockpiles around the yard to deposit their material, of which they will get contaminants or cross-contaminants in every opportunity. We've tried to manage the inefficiencies of interception and of resources and problem waste by adding in a drop-off in front of a waste transfer station facility. All that's happening there in the context of that drop-off is that the public are again making the decision whether they want to invest in intercepting that material that you're not supposed to take. They're exhausted at the end of a day, cleaned out a deceased estate. They've already made a decision when they've put that material into their trailers that it is rubbish, that it has no value. All they want to do is throw it over the edge and go home. Right? So the system is broken in the context of wanting to intercept valuable items and problem waste. The Aerbin system is very different. You don't need to have somebody with their X-ray scanning abilities at a gate. You simply direct the people into your waste transfer points. You can combine green and your general waste into the one location, so your staffing numbers are reduced. You can observe what's going in. You make your charging decisions based on what's actually delivered. You tell the people to keep the material on their vehicle that isn't allowed to go into the landfill, keep them on material and drop them off in the drop-off bays afterwards. Don't let them put it in the landfill. Don't let them put it into the waste transfer station. Give them the opportunity to place it into the dedicated drop-off bins or points for tyres and card and other materials, or ask them to take it home with them, because you're obligated not to take those materials into your landfill. So you can get rid of a separate pile of green waste. You can get rid of your X-ray vision person at the front of the site. Put them into the process of educating the public at the point of deposition. You can intercept contaminants completely, and you can maximise your recycling and reuse. You can take all the pressure and get rid of those queues on the front side of your facility. Importantly, you get the opportunity to educate the customers and charge appropriately. Your staff looking at that can be telling your customer, no, that metal needs to go into there. That cardboard needs to go somewhere else. Your tyres can't go into the landfill. Take them to that next point. You get to educate them. You also have the opportunity to quarantine any problems. You can see here in the little video, this is a quarantine membrane that's been applied. And you'll see that on the Aerbin when we pack up each evening. You can simply, if there's a chemical attack or there's asbestos put into the bin, you simply cover the bin up, take it out, slot a new bin and keep going. Not like your push pit where you should be shutting it down. In this system, you just take the bin away and you keep going. And as I pointed out before, you get to inspect and charge for what the customer is delivering, and you get to charge them for any contaminants that they put into it. So that simply is the Aerbin system. In the bottom left-hand corner is a little video of a very basic site. On our website, you'll see a lot more complex sites, retrofits to sawtooths, retrofits to push pits that have been employed. This one here, the site was still delivering, having the public deliver material up into the actual working face of the landfill. And they simply levelled the area of ground here. This was installed in less than a day, and they're able to manage what goes into their landfill, and they're directing their customers who have got recyclable materials or materials that need to be segregated off into other deposition areas. It's very cost effective, it's very simple, it's quick to deploy. Any questions, anybody? No. And you came all this way for this presentation, you have no questions. Okay, I think I've got you almost back on time now, haven't I? Thanks, David. Thank you, everybody. Cheers.
Last but not least, Colin Cox. Colin Cox is a landscaper turned inventor from Torquay, Victoria. Frustrated with the problem of litter escape from residential wheelie bins due to weather and animals, he pursued an idea and invented a lid-fasting device called the Little Lock. It's unique and that operates with direct interaction with the grab arm of the collection truck. Would you please join me in welcoming Colin? Thanks, Colin.
Afternoon. Thanks for people that hung around. Thanks to the guys that left to make it a bit less nerve-wracking with less people in the crowd. This is my first PowerPoint presentation, so if I bugger it up, be a bit patient. My name's Colin. I'm from Torquay, down on the surf coast. I sort of around the Bells Beach area. I'm a landscaper. Little Lock is my invention, a bit of a passion project for me. I think passion project means something that costs you a lot more money than it makes you, because that's what it's doing at the moment. But I'm here more to talk about the issue that I've tried to address. It's the very sexy issue of litter escaping from the humble residential wheelie bin. It happens for a lot of different reasons. Overfilling's the key one that we sort of get down the surf coast, and that leads to a few other problems, which is animals, birds primarily, and dogs, cats, the rest of it. Every now and then the bin gets knocked over. It's frustrated me for a long time, so I decided a couple of years ago to sort of do something about it, sell my house, invest some money, and come up with a concept that I had. It frustrated me the most, I guess, because it just sort of got looked at as just part of the process with the collection process. People sort of put their bins out in the morning, overfilled or not. They come home from work, the bin's been emptied, if any rubbish is spilled out, it's generally gone. That's because the weather's taken it away somewhere, mainly into the stormwater systems, and then it ends up out on my favourite surf beach, and it annoys the absolute hell out of me. The extent of the problem is something that I looked into when I first had a look at it, because I figured it'd be a fairly extensive problem, but I didn't really realise how much of a problem it was. Bit of a misconception around litter and where it comes from. I think a lot of that's from the media. You see photographs of rubbish on the beach and in the streets, and it's sort of assumed that people on the beach leave their rubbish behind, but it's not really the case. CSIRO say 95% of all litter found on the beaches comes from our residential streets, and there's a fair bit more that doesn't even make it to the beaches. About 130,000 tonnes of plastic goes in the marine environment every single year. And our wonderful government, state, federal and local, are spending at least $350 million in managing it, which is basically grabbing it after it's entered the environment and done the damage. Doesn't take into account all the volunteer hours, Clean Up Australia, that put into it as well. And it really is stopping it downstream where there are solutions upstream. When government, I think, tends to focus on an issue and gets people on board through education and mass rollout, there can be some really significant changes made. The FOGO rollout, which we've had down our way for quite a while, is making a really big difference. That's because it's been rolled out en masse, and it's coupled with an education program as well. Our local landfill, which is Anglesey at the base of the Otway Ranges down there, has reduced its rubbish intake by 74% since we started. We've got a population that's going up, so just shows that concentrated effort sort of makes a big difference. With that change comes some resistance as well. There's always a bit of pushback, and there's always some problems that come off the back of it as well. With our council and a lot of the councils around Melbourne, a lot of the press around FOGO has been negative. They've reduced the frequency in collection from your red bins and yellows to fortnightly, which is creating more of the problem that I'm trying to stop. A lot of the overflowing bins, and you get animals coming in, etc., and that rubbish just ends up in the environment, which is what I'm, again, trying to stop. One of their solutions to getting the overfill bins worked out, you can ring your council down our way anyway and request a bigger bin. So they come and pick up your old bin, and they take it away and they scrap it, and they get a brand new big 360 litre thing and deliver that out. It comes at a massive cost, and I really think there's better ways to do it. So the prevention over cure sort of makes sense. I did a fair bit of research when I looked into this again onto where litter was coming from, and it was really hard to find any real research, especially in Australia, of where it comes from. There's a heap of research that goes around into how many plastic bottles compared to bags, etc., but not a great deal from where it comes from. I found a study in Fort Worth in Texas that have it as the main contributor to litter in the environment. I worked out myself, I did some basic calculations, about 20%. They say it's about 25% of all litter comes out of our residential bins. It's about a quarter of all that sort of stuff. 26,000 tonnes plastic annually removed. That's about 1,500 of those big trucks out there every single year backing up to the beach and unloading their rubbish that we can stop every year by one simple action, that's keeping these lids closed. So the solution, stop the lids from opening until they're supposed to open. It's pretty straightforward, really, I think. Litter lock is my invention. I had a basic concept in mind with my landscaping business, and a lot of tradesmen will know the art of MacGyvering. It's where you have to make up something, pull bits apart, put things back together to come up with a solution. So I did the Bunnings run and pulled things apart, put it back together. The concept worked. With some help of some friends, sort of brought it back together. I worked with Cleanaway down in Geelong our way. They were really supportive, fantastic, and they were happy enough to pick it up and put it down the bin 101 times and try and break it. I had no success. They gave me some great advice. And then the Surf Coast Shire jumped on board as well. They were really supportive. They had a problem that I didn't really know existed, and that was cockatoos opening bins. It's been in the press a little bit. It's up around Sutherland Shire a fair bit, and they're spreading out. They're teaching each other how to open bins. And they had a major issue in Lorne on the Great Ocean Road, where they've been trying for years to stop the birds from opening, people putting bricks and logs and had different gadgets and what have you, and the birds have worked it out every single time. So they decided to run a trial down there called Operation Lockatoo. I think the work experience kit had something to do with the name of that. But a little bit about Lorne. Lorne gets about 6 million visitors going through it every year, a lot of those international. And for years, going down the Great Ocean Road, one of the first things you'd see is the bins along the Great Ocean Road and rubbish everywhere, and all the environmental sort of damage it was doing. I'll just go to the Lockatoo one there. A 6-month trial. We put 200 of our locks on red bins and yellow bins through Lorne. They ran another 8 different remedies down there as well. And after the 6 months, they did a full breakdown and they did surveys with people and stuff like that. And off the back of that, they decided that my little gadget was the one. Not a single bird, after nearly 2 years, has worked out how to open my litter lock. We now have 6,500 locks down in Lorne, every red bin, yellow bin and green bin. The feedback's been fantastic. The residents love it. The Cleanaway truck drivers love it. They're not getting out of their trucks. They're not picking up rubbish. They're not, trying to get the brick to fall in the right direction off the top of the bin. And about a 50% reported visible reduction in litter in the streets. So I'm absolutely stoked about that. The other trial that we've got running and has just finished, I think last week, is in the city of Monash, which is a sort of high-density residential area around one of the big universities down in Melbourne. And same issue, but a different problem. They've got high transient population down there that, to be quite honest, that didn't really give a rat's about what happened when their bins got put out. The photo on the left-hand side there, I did the install with the team down there. We put locks on every bin in one particular street, which is a real problem, and that wasn't a rare occurrence. Every single group of bins had rubbish spewing out of them, and that was the problem they were trying to address there. They did an audit on their stormwater systems beginning of the trial. That's the photos on the next slide there. They had a litter trap that collected just for that street. That's 2 months worth of rubbish on the left-hand side that they did the audit on. They cleaned it out and weighed it. They put our locks on in the one particular street, went back 4 months after it. There was 2 bits of rubbish and a tennis ball in there. That's the difference that it made. The other effect that it's had on that particular street, Monash University, some of the students have been surveying the residents there, is the change in attitude. We got this preliminary feedback 4 months into the trial. It went for another 2 months. We're waiting on the official results to come through in the next sort of week or so. The change of attitude's been extraordinary. People are mowing their lawns, people are talking to each other, the street's clean, they're making an effort. Your bins are overloaded, they're making sure the lock's engaged. You can have your bin up that high full of rubbish. If you can engage that lock, it stays closed until it gets picked up. The change has been pretty full on through there. The little video shows how the lock works. There's also one in the hallway down there on a yellow bin. You can pick it up, have a feel and open it. Incredibly simple to use, incredibly simple to fit as a retrofit at the moment. It fits on all different sizes of bins, all different makes of bins. We've looked at the end of life sort of thing with it, really durable. It's designed to last a lifetime of the bin. We haven't skimped on any sort of materials at all because we wanted it to last, basically. And I think whether it's my product or just the conversation that starts something new, it's a bit of an evolutionary shift in the way we deal with our residential waste. My grandma used to run out on a Monday and bring the white sheets in because the incinerator next door was burning. Tin cans, now we're separating things. The things that are going in the bin is an asset as well. I heard Costa here last year talk about them being called banks because there's a real resource inside these things, and once everything comes out, if it's lucky enough to go bin, it gets mixed up. So yeah, little lock, that's what I'm trying to do. Create awareness around the problem and put my hand up with a solution. Thanks very much.